Hi there. We're in the Tron session and I'm absolutely excited, especially if you have seen me in the previous three sessions earlier, because someone left a comment and I tried to put in these Wyckoff tags on the left hand side over here on a daily chart. This is the weekly chart that we usually start off with and discuss about, and that comment um, left by somebody that watched my videos pushed me to try to do it on a lower level timeline that I don't usually do, because it's more noisy at a lower level timeline, and we usually would see more than one picture if we really want to put in the Wyckoff cycles and the stages. So without further ado, let's look at Tron. Start with the usual thing. In terms of the higher level timeline, this Wyckoff tag, over here we see the last point of supply still going on, but then it's kind of weakening. If we look at the volume after, especially this sell 2 weeks ago, that was some pretty strong downward pressure for this red candle over here. So fast forward to where we are now. Tron seems to try to retest this pink line at around 28 cents 60. So it's totally possible for it to try test it. However, if I were to draw a line over here, why? Because this used to be the support line. Let's change it to, change it to a different color. Let's say change it to white. So it used to be the support line for this entire period. Now that during middle of the month, the price has fallen below this trend line, this line has become the resistance for like current past week. It bounced, but it stopped right below this line. Currently, more or less same story. This wick over here, somebody is selling heavily close to this line. So if the price can't get above this line, it's going to be continual stress for Tron. Also, over here, this pink line, if the price really wants to get higher, following this trend line, trying to push above it, so this week it's already the last chance that it tests this white line directly before it has to go through the pink line, then the white line. So there's a transition this week. If it doesn't happen, then July will be even tougher if the price wants to continue just to follow below this trend line. So I'll keep this trend line here so we remember what we have talked about next week. In terms of resistance, I already talked about this pink. Obviously, when it gets further down the timeline, the white will become the next resistance before this green line at around 32 cents. Support lines. If the price doesn't go up and come down instead, if it comes down, then this purple line at around 24 cents is the first support. The second will be this yellow line at around 22 cents. So just 2 cents difference. It's time to extend these lines as well. So let's make them all the same length. Okay, so interesting month it is, July, in terms of the bigger picture. Daily chart. So past few days, it has kind of broken outside of this little box that I've drawn earlier. However, given this point, this tip over here, what we can do is now we can check whether this is the case. So we see all these tips, right? So that's what I want to draw. Okay, now that the price evolves, we get more points, not bonus points or reward points, but these points. It'll be interesting to see because currently the price is being suppressed. You see this wick over here. The wick, even though the bar is longer, the volume bar is longer, there is quite a bit of change of hands happening. That means when compared to the previous days, we're currently 3 times, 4 times more or higher volume compared to the past 10, 12 days. So if if people are battling around this blue line, this blue resistant line, the top edge of the box, they try to push through, and this bottom line of the upper blue box is basically the same thing I draw, this white line over here. So if it does happen that way, that they want to push it back to the bigger blue box, let's say if people want to push back in here to trade, be careful, it's going to receive a very strong test not long later. This is early August. That's a triangle over here because of this pink line as well as the bottom line of this blue box. So if it does comes up, it first has to break the pink in order to further the trend upwards. But that means retesting the levels of the buying climax. That's not an easy thing to do, even though that's a possibility. The second scenario is it's not successful in breaking above this line, and it comes down to follow this smaller blue box that's trending downwards. Again, even sooner than this triangle, we see another triangle here. This one, mid-late July, either the price breaks out of this little box and then try to test it here, and then maybe it comes down again, or it continues to follow until it tests this pink line once more. Another scenario is this pink center line at around 26 cents doesn't support the price anymore. It did last time back in like a week ago, just a week ago. It received very strong support at this price level. You see this long wick, somebody sold it to that point, but somebody pushed it back up, and eventually this long candle. But you see the volume over here, right? It's not as high as what we have today. So the price fluctuation was crazy, but the volume was low. So it'll be interesting. It's more likely that it's going to hover around this level, much like here. However, we never know. But take note of these triangles. It's going to happen soon. In just a matter of like 2-3 weeks time, we'll see which case is going to develop. And then the interesting thing now is back to the comment I received. Daily chart Wyckoff pattern. It's going to be difficult, but let's have fun and just to try it. So here, let's copy this tag and for the BC buying climax, change it to a little bit red. Update, please, trading view. Okay, there we go. So let's say in this very noisy daily chart, we to draw the buying climax. Let's zoom out a little so we can see the picture better. Let's see if this is really a buying climax where we are now. It's funny. So let's start with the selling first. That would be easier. Let's say if we have a selling climax here and then an automatic rally. We're drawing, just having fun, trying to see whether we can pull something together. Let's say we have a second test over here, and then these are like sign of strength, and quickly pull down, maybe this, we call it a spring or just a test. And eventually we have this backup or last point of supply or support. So last point of support. Then at this point is more like the preliminary supply, PSY, not the Korean famous PSY Gangnam Style. And then eventually it moves, say this is the buying climax. Let's put it this way for now. It's very noisy, I know, that's why I don't like to draw it on a lower timeline, but somebody asked, so let's have fun play around it. Then after the buying climax we have this automatic reaction quickly, and there was a second test looking at that red cross. So you see this wick coming all the way up, right? And let's zoom in now that we can zoom in a bit since we're drawing this part. So after the second test, maybe this is a sign of weakness, right? So if this is true, then what we're seeing now is potentially the last point of supply, the LPSY. Yeah. Okay, so that's where we are now. If we really have to plug in the Wyckoff pattern or the Wyckoff method into the daily chart, and well, if the price comes down for an accumulation, we'll be able to see one like not long later, whether it would be an accumulation at this level or it's going to be an accumulation at this level. Only time can tell. So let's keep these tags here for now just to make sure it doesn't populate to the upper timeline. So that's it. Hope you like it, and let me know in the comments whether it's more interesting to look at the daily chart Wyckoff pattern. We'll keep it that way and to explore together basically. I don't normally do this, but these videos are for research and like discussion or education purpose, so might as well exploring something new. Thanks for joining me today. See you tomorrow.